Hey everybody, it's Chugga Conroy, and today is my 13th anniversary of doing this. Thank you so much for watching. I don't really have any sort of big documentary style thing, but I thought I could just sit here and tell some stories from the last year, thank some people, and do that kind of thing. So in the last year, Let's Plays that we've completed, first of which is Kirby Triple Deluxe. This was a surprisingly stressful thing to make. I told the stories about how Mystery Dungeon was planned to go in its stead, and I was having to plan this out really quickly because that got a remake announced. But it was a lot more than that. I kind of apologize, this video is gonna start off kind of negative though, but I feel like you can't do a recap of the last year without some of that. Putting it as mild as I can, I had a lot of bad things happen one after another, and at the end of all of it, I had my health insurance drop me 3 days before the virus arrived in my city, so it was a very stressful time and a lot of things were not going well, and it was over something that wasn't my fault that they dropped me for. It was... I've been saying that I had a rough 2020 before it was cool. Anyway. Life was pretty terrible during that time, and I actually initially thought pretty negatively about Triple Deluxe as a result, feeling like it wasn't going well, but over time, I've kind of started to warm up to it. I don't have any strong regrets about making it. I think it was just easy enough to make that I could still do it when taking some hard things one day at a time, and I think it was as good as it reasonably could have been. I think toward the end, it had some of the funniest moments, like when a certain boss's move surprised me because I'd never played that fight before. If I ever did another Kirby game, I would absolutely do the True Arena without playing it first. I think that made it a much more entertaining series and made it more of a journey of figuring out how to do it right. Moving on, we have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. So yeah, I planned on doing Blue Rescue Team because I thought the series was dead, and then whoop! Man, I loved this game. They updated the gameplay and gave it its own identity. When it used to just be the gameplay of Explorers, but more rudimentary, I think the whole gathering up an angry mob of Pokemon and having like 8 in your party and that whole style of gameplay, some of the new items that were introduced, that was such a cool idea to finally give the original game its own identity. The music's awesome. It was way more ambitious of a remake of a GBA game than Let's Go was. It was kind of cool getting to Let's Play such a new game, even if it was only because it was a remake. I don't plan on Let's Plays of very recent games being a regular thing, but it was cool getting to have it all planned out and then just getting to react to the cool visuals and new music in the Let's Play, because I'd looked into how everything worked ahead of time, and I played part of the remake before actually recording it though, but a lot of my knowledge did come from the original and just looking into the differences. I think the experience taught me what it's like to make a first-time playthrough in video form and why people like making them so much, which is something I hadn't really done before. I would say that the later parts of the game were kind of stressful, but despite how many 100-floor dungeons there are in the post-game, I just kind of designated specific days where those would be played. I blocked scheduled 10-hour periods to beat them, and I wouldn't really say I disliked doing them at the end. Yeah, I kind of dreaded them a little bit at first, and it was high stress, but it was so invigorating in the later floors and trying to survive and rolling with what luck gave you and having to just deal. I would still do it again. If I could talk about my favorite thing to do in this series, it was coming up with voices for every character. I feel like with how weird some Pokemon are in concept, it gave me a lot to work with, and it was something I wasn't expecting to have as much fun with as I did. It was really fun just coming up with little voices and heck, even audio gags for some characters. I really liked making this, and I got to put a lot of myself into it. Oh yeah, we also finished Let's Play Super Mario Land. I legitimately forgot while writing down the notes things that I wanted to say and making sure I hit all the right bullet points when talking about all this. Unironically, I think that's one of my favorite things I've ever made. It was just really fun. I put everything into it that I could have, did all my research for it. I'd wanted to do that joke for over a year, or over 2 years. It's just the previous 2 April Fool's Days, I had something going on that day and I wouldn't have been able to be there when it went up or had the right time to make it in the weeks ahead of time. So yeah, it was something that was in the works for way longer than it should have been, but I finally got to do it, and I think it was pretty worth the effort of making 2 videos. And that's all I've completed in the last year because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is too damn huge. Yeah, it's, if you're looking for something to watch just to pass the time, it'll surely provide you with that because, yeah, it's, quite big and still going. I don't really want to talk about thoughts related to that because, I generally save that for the end and how I'm feeling after it's all over. So perhaps next anniversary, I certainly hope I'm done by that point. I do also want to thank you for something that just happened yesterday, actually. Let's Play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has hit 1 million views on the playlist. I want to thank you so much for that milestone, and I guess it shows that you are enjoying it. This is usually where I talk about what I'm looking to do ahead in the next year, but I'm looking to make a lot of Xenoblade 2 videos. Okay, no, I do have other things in the works. Because there is no rest, I have something very, very big in the works. I would say that in the next year, the Let's Play that I have spent the longest amount of time planning out is going to release. Because we didn't have that many individual Let's Plays, this turned out to be a shorter video than usual, so something I really want to take a moment and talk about here is just how thankful I am that I've been able to do this despite how difficult a lot of things have been. That I've been telling myself for the last several months, I just gotta make one more Let's Play and then everything is back to normal. And it's been a really nice thing. Let's Play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was not intended to release originally until sometime in 2021, but because the game was kind of there for me during the aforementioned difficult times, I just buckled down, worked on it a lot, and it was ready to go early, so here we are. Thank you for making this time so much more bearable. It's wonderful being able to interact with people and have some sort of feedback just in a time where everything's so isolated. You've made it all a lot more bearable, and it's kind of nice that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is an unending amount of work just during a time where I need to pass a lot of time. I want to thank Masayanella and Marilyn for giving me lots of feedback on my videos over the last year, making those better. I'd like to thank Motion Dan for visually designing so many things that you've seen in the videos over the last year and beyond. There's a lot of that coming up. There's Proton John and Nintendo Capri Sun as my co-hosts over on TRG. We've been trying to find ways to record things despite everything, and I think we've got some stuff in the pipeline that'll be pretty good for that. John also recently came back to uploading Let's Play videos with Blaster Master Zero and has several others in the works, so go check him out if you haven't in a while. He's really funny, and he's my best friend. He told me so himself. Only ask him if you have to, though. And yeah, I'll see you back here, hopefully for another year. Bye.